Well, at the risk of sounding political, because I don't mean this politically at all, I think some of the awful things that have happened in our country recently are the result of our not having shared experiences as citizens of all races, creeds, ages, sizes, abilities, and whatever. We go to war, just a certain number of people do the fighting for us. And the rest of us aren't even affected. On Iraq, I asked the President of the United States in an interview I did. I said, Mr. President, you've said this war against terror is the single most important thing that's come in this country. I mean, to the United States of America, centuries. Why have you not asked all of us to participate? Oh well, it's not. I don't mean to put the president down. It's just that the thinking isn't that you have to sacrifice when there is a situation that arises like a war or Katrina. Katrina comes. You remember how everybody rose then too. It's, oh well, what can we do about Katrina? Go to New Orleans today. Go to the shoreline of Mississippi today. Misery is still there. I mean, we don't follow up because the shared kind of, we don't feel responsible for New Orleans. We don't feel responsible for Iraq one way or another. Some people would argue, I'll let the politicians argue this. Some people would argue that if we didn't have a voluntary military, we'd never gone to war in Iraq, because the argument, the public argument, would have kept that from happening. I'm not so sure. I don't know. Who knows what that might have happened? But it means it would open up. The more people who are involved, the more of us are involved in all of these big events, it's cumbersome as hell. Because democracy is always cumbersome and it's complicated, and it'll take a, but three guys can't get in a room and decide to go to war. You just can't do that. It's going to take all kinds of new forms of communication and leadership to get all of these things done. But to answer your questions, I'm not upbeat at all about where we are with our country right now. Some of the things that we have done as a country, as a nation, as a people, disturb me, because I think we've done some things. Things have been done in our name, so they might as well, as far as I'm concerned, we did them. I'm an American. I'm responsible for what happens in my name, and that's how I feel about it. And some of these things really bother me. I hate it that we couldn't get our act together and help those people and rebuild New Orleans and the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I don't understand why we had to take military action against Iraq in such a way that caused the calamity that has resulted. And there are people in the world who hate us. I mean, hate us. You say America or American to some people, we're a red flag to a lot of people in the world. And that really disturbs me, because we're basically really good people. But in order we have got to be given an opportunity to demonstrate our goodness, and our goodness has got to be called upon all the time, and it can't be haphazard. That's the big lesson I have learned the last several years, and leading up to this very moment, that if you don't ask of the good may not happen, and you get what you expect. And if you expect the best, then you have a means by which to call everybody to task, and you also have a means to encourage people and to encourage us all to do better, to do, I don't think we're doing that right now, and that bothers me more than anything. Well, there's a practical differential. The Depression touched everybody. World War II touched everybody. These calamities that I'm talking about do not touch everybody just automatically, just by their very nature. What I'm suggesting is, the variable here is that the country, the leaders of our country, and the leaders meaning the population, must accept and be encouraged to accept the fact that we are all touched by calamities, in ways that we didn't have to be in the Depression or be in World War II to understand that this was our calamity, that Iraq is our calamity, Darfur is our calamity. When there is a calamity, we have a stake in it, and we have a responsibility. But that has to be. The whole society, every element, family, school, church, whatever, as well as the political system, and primarily the political system, has to be built on that. And the people who are running for office, presidents of the United States, candidates for president of the United States, in my opinion, every one of them, I don't care if you're a left-winger, a right-winger, a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, should tell the people the very worst and say, okay, I can fix this, but I can't do it alone. Here's what you could do. And ask people to help. And be very specific about it. And sometimes you may have to pay more tax. Oh, okay, well, all right. Sometimes you may have to do this. Sometimes, you know, and make us all. But it's got to be a it's got to be a culture. It's got to be that the politicians argue and debate about how they're going to resolve these things, and how they're going to affect how everybody's going to be affected about it, and what they can all do about it. Rather than right now, politicians tend to talk and they want to make everything all right. We can, you know, make it all so simple and so easy. None of this is simple and easy. And to act like we can go to war and only touch a few people in the voluntary military and their families. That's what happened, and now it's not working. And it's beginning to touch more and more people, and the more and more people get touched, the more and more questions get asked, and the more and more everything becomes more and more difficult.